Hi everyone, it's the EnglishSimmer here, and this video is brought to you through the EA Creator Network, as I did receive an early look so that I could record all of these early access videos, overviews, things like that of the new pack for The Sims 4, new expansion pack, which is of course high school years. This is my Townie and world overview in which I basically go over the world, all the information, all the lore into the Townies, because we know that that's a thing now. I will say, just before we get into this video, this isn't final software, so if you do notice any like spelling mistakes, if there are any like issues that I do happen to run into, please do note that I am flagging them to the team, so fingers crossed they will be fixed before release. We are going to be checking out Copperdale, which is it a play on Riverdale? I don't know. I mean, we definitely know that there are currently no supernaturals because they come in extra packs. So right off the back, Copperdale is made up of 12 lots in total. It comes with 3 neighborhoods. Honestly, I think this is an alright size world. It kind of, I feel, could do with more community lots, I think. But when do I never think that? I was actually surprised by this world. When I saw the pier, I thought it was gonna have like maybe a like Santa Monica sort of vibe to it, kind of like Del Sol Valley, but it's way more like outdoorsy and foresty than I imagined. It does seem like it's kind of up in the mountains, like in the lakes. It is a mining town, so obviously like I can imagine it's in like a mountain region. Historically, it makes sense. I think the pier just like fully threw me off. I don't know why. Honestly, maybe it has some like Colorado vibes to it. I don't know. I'm just saying that because of Life is Strange true colors. But the world description: once renowned for its booming mining industry, the town of Copperdale, quaint and historic, lay nestled on the banks of Lake Lasuli. Founder Jasper Prescott. That also reminds me of Life is Strange. If you know, you know. Had foraged this land for its treasured crystals, hoping Copperdale would one day blossom into a prosperous community for families and travelers alike. And though the minecarts reached an eternal halt, the townspeople continued to flourish. With academics and adventures abound, Copperdale is now home to many families seeking a small town life with big city dreams for themselves and their teens. Together, they've unearthed a gem far more precious than before: beloved high school memories. Starting with the first neighborhood up in the top of this world, we have Rockridge Heights. Home to Copperdale High, Rockridge Heights is the town's standard bearer for academia across generations. It's a beloved school ground for quintessential teen moments and college preparation. With classrooms full of learning and an auditorium full of prom possibilities, Rockridge Heights is the perfect environment for every teen to discover who and what they want to be. So here you will actually find the high school and you will find the auditorium. The high school is a 64 by 64 lot and the auditorium is a 30 by 20 lot. This long-established academic institution offers teens a place to expand their horizons, complete with classrooms, lockers, and a cafeteria. Copperdale High is an idyllic locale for learning, with a great view of the football field to boot. So you can actually like fully bulldoze this lot and basically build it from the ground up. You can design it however you like, using like whatever packs you like, and honestly I have to say it's not the most inspiring build I have ever seen. I think the team kind of made it like kind of basic, maybe, so you like felt inspired to build your own. I feel like if you are a teacher IRL, you might actually be a little bit personally offended by the lack of like imagination when it comes to the classrooms. There is nothing on the walls, there is nothing to inspire the teenagers, and I know if I was working in there I'd be a bit like, this is a little bit boring. And then for the auditorium, from career day to graduation, this multi-purpose space serves as a premier setting for some of life's biggest moments, with a bit of music and the lights down low. This venue can transform into a perfect prom paradise. So this basically works the same way sort of as community lots from Eco Lifestyle, except obviously you don't like vote on them, but there's 4 different versions of this. So you have the auditorium setup, which is just plain bare bones, like basic. You have the prom setup, you have the career day setup, and then you also have the graduation setup. And depending on the event that is happening in this auditorium, it will kind of shift when you load into it at a certain event. So for example, when you load into prom, it will be dressed up for prom, which means that you can actually go in and sort of like change up the themes of like the proms or the graduations. Honestly, careers day, I'm definitely gonna hop in there and switch that up because it definitely wasn't exciting enough. It also means that for the proms, because obviously there's like one every week, which can get kind of repetitive, but you can actually like switch them up when you want to. So you could, for example, make like an underwater themed prom, and then the next time you host it, it could be like a Christmas themed prom. It doesn't just have to be prom as well. Like I might just make a classic UK school disco. Unfortunately, with both of these lots in this neighborhood, you can't change like what the venue is. So they have to be a high school and they have to be the auditorium. They want you to have a high school, obviously, like in the game somewhere, so that you're not missing out on like half the pack opportunities. This also means, unfortunately, that you can't build your own high schools or auditorium in the sense of building in another world, for example. Again, I get it from gameplay because they don't want the teens sort of too spread out, but I feel like a lot of people are gonna think that's a missed opportunity, especially for like the base game worlds that you kind of want to add something new to. This is a restricted lot. You can't build your own other than on the actual lot in Copperdale. So very much tied to the expansion pack. The only new venue that we got in this pack is actually the Thrifty Tea Shop. This means you can actually build your own thrift and bubble tea store, but you can't actually own them. It's not like a get to work scenario where you build and run a restaurant. I think it'll just spawn in with like a random person behind the counter for you if you do happen to build your own. Moving on to Plumbite Cove, settled on Lake Lasuli sits Plumbite Cove, a once popular location for its mining of rare gems. After the mine shut down, the town turned this picturesque outlook into a waterfront fairground. With thrills, chills, and a breathtaking view, Plumbite Pier is the ideal spot for all ages to make some memories. Travel to Totter Park to see the majestic Cheetah Rock before heading to the pier to snag a selfie with the Frank the Flying Womp Womp tribute. Whether settling down or just stopping by, Plumbite Cove is a must-see Copperdale gem. Honestly, they weren't lying when you said you should go to the park and then head over to the pier, because the pier itself actually isn't a lot. It's just kind of like placed in the world, which I actually like in the sense that it feels kind of a little bit like an open neighborhood. However, there's also a downside because you can't like spawn into it. You have to like walk over to it, which actually does take a little bit of time. Even though it seems like they're really close, I guess I could always just teleport my Sims. So that's just me being a little bit nitpicky, and I like that it feels open world. So we have one 20 by 15, that's the residential starter home. We have one 50 by 40, which is the park, one 30 by 30, which is a residential, but there are actually pre-mades living in there, one 20 by 20 residential, which is the empty lot, and then one 30 by 20, which is actually the rental lot. The starter home says, situated a stone's throw away from the pier, this delightful spot on Lake Lasuli is perfect for a starter home, and it actually costs 18,692 simoleons. The park isn't super interesting. Famously known for Cheetah Rock, this park is a peaceful reprieve from the blinding lights of the pier. Rated 5 stars, reviews claim this park rocks. Personally, I wouldn't give it 5 stars, but that's just me. I definitely think they could have just extra more with this. And I definitely feel like this, out of all the lots that are available, is the one that most people are gonna bulldoze and make their own. Next up is the 30 by 30 lot, which actually has the Price household living in there. So that's obviously where you can find Sydney, who was a big part of the trailer, alongside Kevin. High school sweethearts and Copperdale alumni Janae and Marcel Price have returned, moving back into their old neighborhood with their 3 children, Sydney, Savannah, and Jaden. They also welcome Kevin, a foreign exchange student, into their lively home. It's a busy household stirring with activity and thriving pursuits. Whilst Marcel works on his latest novel, Janae works full-time as a successful regional manager. We love a girl boss. The twins, Savannah and Sydney, each enjoy their own interests whilst trying to keep up good grades. Jaden looks up to his siblings a lot and can't wait to be just like them, his buddy Kevin included. Life can certainly get away from them, but they know they can always depend on one another. So this is actually a 6-sim pre-made household, which I feel like we haven't really seen a lot of like big families pretty much since base game. And they live in Bridge Creek Drive, close to the essentials and a tunnel into town. It's a comfortable spot for anyone's needs. Includes nearby access to a favorite teen hideaway. At least they're off the lawn. So there is actually a little area where there's like a sofa set up and like a little den. I honestly couldn't find any other like teen hideaway areas other than that specific one. So if you find one when this actually does release, let me know, because I had a good gander at this world. Moving on to the empty 20 by 20 lot, it's Little Falls Nook, a cozy hideaway nestled by nature and gifted with waterfront access. There's not much to say about it. Your Sims can move in here. And finally, we have the 30 by 20 rental known as Hillside Haven, a cliffside oasis away from the hustle and bustle of the pier, but close enough to enjoy the picturesque view. This is actually a really cool lot because like from the front of the house, you can actually see like the Ferris wheel always going like in the background. I actually really enjoyed my Sims living here. And then for the final neighborhood, we have Prescott Square, named after Copperdale's founder, Jasper Prescott. This town square is a giant hub for all after-school hangouts. For the fashion-forward teens, Eloise Hiddlesticks's well-known thrifty tea shop is a spot to grab a bubble tea and explore the latest trends. Lakeview Library is perfect for academically minded teens to squeeze in a cram sesh or find a study buddy. Representing Copperdale's historical legacy, this square is central to all its residents. Some say they've seen the ghost of Jasper lurking near his old dwelling, the Bloom's Bluff Mystery House, which I actually didn't check out. I don't know if that's like legitimate lore or if that's just like flavor text and he doesn't really explore. I actually love the way that this area looks, but beware, it is made up of so many shells. Whilst I do like that the square is kind of like rootable, and there's like random tables for your Sims to like sit down on and things like that. So I do feel as if the team are trying to make the neighborhoods like feel a little bit open world. It's just like all the shells just feel like a missed opportunity every single time. Like I honestly would have loved like a little cafe as like a rabbit hole or something like that. And I always say that's kind of something I wish the team would do more of. Like there's literally a building that looks like a cinema. Imagine if it was just like a rabbit hole cinema. I feel like it would make the world feel much more alive. But this is actually made up of 5 lots once again. You have 3 20 by 15 lots. You have 1 20 by 20 lot, and then you have 1 30 by 30 lot. The residential where the pre-mades are living, which is the 20 by 15 lot, is actually owned by the Harjo family. Brought together by their mutual obsession over food, Ava and Luca fell in love. Ava was recently hired at the school to work in the cafeteria, and with her expert cooking skills, the food has never been better. Luca, still learning some chops, was promoted to head dishwasher and couldn't be happier. Love him. Ash has decided to fully commit to a life of fashion, diving into the Simfluencer lifestyle and spending loads of their time on trendy. Noah, a bit of a prankster, spends his time training for football and daydreaming about his secret crush, Sydney Price, which is actually represented by sentiments, which is very nice to see. With teens to raise and and recipes to create, the Harjos are in for some wild adventures. And they live in the Water Tower Way, a charming lot situated on the edge of town with a natural backdrop and suburban vibes. Perfect view for the famous Copperdale Water Tower. Climbing prohibited, which is actually the truth because your Sims can't climb up it. It's not interactable. Trust me, I tried. I see a water tower, I'm gonna climb it. I see train tracks, I walk on them. What do you expect? Be gay, do crime. Then we have a 20 by 15 residential home, which is actually empty. It's a little townhouse. I honestly feel like this might frustrate some people because it's on like a dock sort of area. So it's all like wooden paneling. So you can't really have like too much landscaping, but I actually quite like that it's a little townhouse. So it's Town Square Terrace, a lively location settled within Prescott Square, complete with instant access to all the excitement downtown offers. Then we have Thrifty, the final 20 by 15. It's the thrift and bubble tea store. With bubbles and bargains, this bubble tea thrift shop combo is a favorite teen hotspot, run by returning resident Eloise Hiddlesticks. Then Lakeview Library is the 20 by 20 lot. Originally a city hall, this historic library has become a staple in Copperdale's students' academic endeavors. I will hold my hands up and say I actually didn't visit the library like once, but I don't really enjoy libraries in The Sims 4 all that often. And finally, we have the Prescott family, aka my family. I know what Molly looks like me, what can I say? Passed down through generations, this historic estate is home to the Prescott family. May Prescott, Copperdale's high school principal, lives here with her 2 daughters and her father, Tai Lum. After her husband's passing, May put all her efforts in protecting her girls and showering them with affection, oftentimes to an embarrassing degree. Molly is a star student, thank you very much, with a secret passion for music. Okay, that's lies. Taking a page from her troublemaker little sister Amy, she's learning to embrace her more rebellious side. Ty enjoys time with his grandchildren, especially the extra moments he has with Molly when working at the school as a janitor. Together, the family proudly carries on the legacy of the Prescott name. And they obviously, being the Prescotts, being the Tories of the town, live in Golden Peak. An estate-worthy plot of land sits elegantly overlooking Copperdale. Pinkies up, absolutely not. I was raised in the north. I do have to call myself out on that sometimes. Sometimes that little pinky just wants to go up. I think it's just the English in me, to be completely honest. I really like how when it talks about like adults working in the school, they do actually work in the school. They are just like auto-filled spots though, so don't think that you can actually become like the head teacher or the caretaker. They're not like jobs available to your playable Sims. They are literally just run by the Sims that they say. And then I did just go into like manage town to like see who else was about, and the sort of townies who don't have lots are just basically the teachers. So there are a couple of different teachers. They don't have any like descriptions about them. They don't really have anything to them, but they are there if you do want to like give them makeovers or stuff. But just keep in mind they will obviously be replaced if the Sims happen to do pass away or anything like that. And yeah, a lot of the teens in this world do actually have sentiments towards each other. Honestly, not the most interesting thing in the world. I think that sentiments could be done so much more. I think that you could have like permanent sentiments, and I just think they're underutilized, to be honest. I've said that from the release of them with Snowy Escape, but Molly and Savannah are actually on rival teams. I don't really know how they can be on rival teams considering they both go to the same school. I think it's like maybe one is in like the computer club and then one is maybe in chess club, and they count them as rival teams. I think the same goes for football and cheerleading because they say that Sydney and Noah are also rivals. I find it a weird use of the word considering they both go to the same high school, but Noah also has a crush on Sydney. It's kind of an unrequited crush. They don't really know each other all that well. Noah's clearly just seen like Sydney out and about whilst he's been playing some American football, and Sydney's been doing cheerleading out on the field, which I think is very, very cute. And then Ash is also like good friends with Molly, and Ash is also friends with Sydney, I think. So they do have little bits of like relationships and sentiments towards each other. So yeah, that pretty much sums it up for Copperdale, the world, and its townies. I would love to hear what you lot think of it. I do think it's a very pretty world. Honestly, I can imagine it being quite rainy with seasons installed, so we'll just kind of have to see how that works. I also think I would have preferred to see more like teen hangout areas, like maybe the tower being used, or like the old abandoned like shack, which is actually just a debug object, so you can't like interact with it. I just think it would have been nice to have more of those areas where it kind of feels like your Sims could sneak out to, kind of like the bluffs, for example, in Get Together, but that's kind of like my only bit of feedback when it comes to this world. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I would love to hear what you have to say about it. If you have any questions about the townies or about the world itself, please absolutely do not hesitate to leave them in the comments down below, and if I know the answer, I will try and get back to you. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I will speak to you all in my next one, which is probably gonna either be my Creator Sim overview or my gameplay overview.